Hands up just after you drop. What is going through the challenges in life different depending on what you can find. And this would be the vision for the innocent, depending on what the division, the dimensions, depending on what the president for the pens. And this is my house, a car for the tree, all back for the citizen, the branches, and whether it been after times, the stars and nights of the view. For I appear for the canvas and figmentations, and maybe the comfort for the flowers and harps. You can find a handiwork for the ancient fields and meadows and the breezes and the seas and trees. The apple to the blossom for the topics, to be the locket for the candles and the logics, and maybe you scrap that contorted for the into the steps and project for the meant to be the mirror of hope. Ribbons, mine as a net to make the state depends if revisiting the arts and maybe the drafts that far from enough for the business and maybe you can cry a crazy wish. Upon the healers and still attached to that color for the one of the greatest gifts and this to be the building for the advancement of others and the rip that fabric to the clutter for the left, the matchsticks and the cover of the debate, the tactics. And the center for the absence of wonder for the cadence and the spiritual warfare for the dating is still a statement for the straight and narrow arrow cap. Degrading to say that for the you can find out for the what was one easy perplexed, but one for the arrangement sleazy enough for the professing of the sun for the implications to stage. Strange received because of that I definitely for the one for the another blames is heavy. Been indefinite and done for the keeping of the faith for the still believing the tillman meaning destiny is done. I see that hate amazingly still collected by some for what is dealing with this a long term. I can't feel in the low words. You stick for nothing was chose first for the stones and dirt, the burdens and overlooking the truth in plain sight, but I'm wrong for that. Prepared to be pulled different for the moves is all the noise from whether you can find mysterious voices, it's serene truth or whether it be for what I can for the embracing of a scripture proof. I'm not preparing for that, for the beliefs live to be the comment for the fact for that I'm listening for the asking for just as lane. Dumb is not staged for that, so another fatal for the causing the threat for this to be the reins for listening home hold the same for this displaying to manipulate your thoughts for the fitting of what you can find this my hope. Proven for the stuff and to be what you wrote insane enough for the taking for the illness and other people. You can find that for the world to take for discrimination. I'm structured. You can find the control through hate. Nah, I'm not for the hate. It's surprising enough for the combination for the ain't thinking about that bias and left over tables and shit. I mean, it's not like that for the register for this earth to still give me away. Mark predate. This is not to believe that spiritual find. I can find the physical things enough for this to prove facing challenges. Someone has it more rough too for this to conflict. What's taking it for the life of the hatred for the tempted to find that for this and that they want to really out of pride for the heading up of what you find trust and the convenience into your harmless expression of the changing basically. I disapprove for not trying to get right for all the kind of different traps and the snares, but I trust in God and that's easy. It's there still and I be. Hands up, just not. Hands up, hands up, just after you drop. Hands up, hands up. Hands up, just after you drop. What is going through the challenges?
Looking down upon for the who's are down upon me for the life that rules and you can know with what gets by for the habit to walk through the path along for the my own to will be sit. I will sit without charity for the done was done for this is done for whenever it's over. Be not letting you down for the I, be the psychometric for the testing of the life for the choosing, inspired for the risk when you can find the truth for the like. Looking down upon for the who's are down. Looking down upon for the who's are down. Looking down upon for the who's are down upon me for the life. Looking down upon for the who's are down upon me for the life of the rules and you can know with what gets by for the habit to walk through the path along for the my own to will be sit. I will sit without charity for the done was done for this is done for whenever it's over. Looking down upon for the looking down upon for looking down upon for the who's are down looking down upon for the looking down upon for the who's are down upon me for the life of the rules and you can know with what gets by for the habit to walk through the path along for the my own to will be sit. I will sit without charity for the done was done for this is done for whenever it's over. Looking down upon for the who's are down upon me for the life of the rules and you can know with what gets by for the habit to walk through the path along for the my own to will be sit. I will sit without charity for the done was done for this is done for whenever it's over. If it be not letting you down for the I, be the psychometric for the testing of the life for the choosing, inspired for the risk when you can find the truth for the like of you. I can guide the Elohim maybe taking the cross. Maybe not for the portion to be losing the fortunate for the spite of all for the thorns and for the glorious and like you prove. Down upon for the who's are down upon me for the life of the rules and you can know what gets by for the habit to walk through the path along for the my own to will be sit. I will sit without charity for the done was done for this is done for whenever it's over. If it be not letting you down for the I, be the psychometric for the testing of the life for the choosing, inspired for the risk when you can find the truth for the like of you. I can guide the Elohim but taking the cross. Maybe not for the portion we're losing, the fortunate for the spite of all for the thorns, and then for the glorious and like it proof. Restore for the use of the whole, for the life, for the headache, and before you can do your ordinance. And this is more the truth and importance for the immortal, so Lord, I believe the Christ, not for the water life, for the shadow, for the hate. The battle for the mind, for the spirit, for the warfare, for the bitter regime, for the heart, for the earth, for the eagle's curse. After times of eating, for the origins to feed that, for the work to the food, for this is the churches, for the portals, for this normal. Enough for the half the time, for the be discerned, for this disturbed with lies. Distortion of the end for the hide. Your esteem light can't be manipulated, for this to be the value like the key. Grace exceed for the rips to the net, for the big commandments, feel like I hate for the conceit, for the lips that you can give me, for the this to be the right way, for the know the source of this, the force is what you can sort of. Never for the farmers, you never know, but changing the day for the besides who that love that who, for the poor, for the justice taken up for the good sign. I ain't random not for this to be withstood. That's for the faith, and I can find that from another tear for the persecution, for what remains despite that for the dough, for this you writing craft for this flow. Healing life and this give the cost go for the fact that on the other hand for the sun rain, but then envy for the path gone, you can understand it not really. Flying around in the fight, name for the mountain top, for the distant moment, for the done, for the love, for the fear, for the evil, for the divide, for the only be the drug or die, for the revelation to fire that brimstone. For what you can shine that light, for the evidence of the abundance, for the love that is done, for the conflicting interests and previously mentioned that I and I'm self-disgusted. Hair for the taking upon me, for the I am nothing like it, for the stumbling and by, for the conjuring, discovering your balance, for that I can see the truth in my dreams reduced because of the righteousness and I. You try to change me from what is evil, but I'm finding, but no matter whatever you do, I know for the grace is always right behind it, for the yet another season, for the yet springs enough for the same nice side, and you can be the foolish name scheme. Make my proof in pride, find my proof in that being for the lamentations of the self state. Lift your name for the cause of your mighty, for the saving me, worldliness within your wings, and I can hide me. Your search for the heart, for any wickedness, and I thirst for the light, for the mind, understanding for the ain't enough, for your work, for the learning, for the time that you can find that will work. Until I empty the purge and the dark, for the straight and narrow, for the healing and the tail, for you can let your fruit. Forcing me to hug, for the ain't enough for you, and nothing for you, and it ain't enough for you, and nothing, and for the sight, for the trip, for the presence of the Antichrist, and your evidence, for the lack of defense, and the cuddle, they collide. Prayer, near me. You're gonna do that for the different ministry, for the talents, for the passions that impact, for the inter-disturbing synergies, for the action, the path that grasp control of mine. I know the attachment, relax, grasp for the money, and the lonely oats, and latch into the pants at the bottom of the bubble boost, with a different bracket here for just an observation. All the plans for the year, but this is a bunch of proof that was not proper wavelength for all the plans secured enough for the love of the truth for the conversation on the page turn. Strange in the perception like a nature for the self for the same. Within the way for this eye and eye for the phase of complicated and eventually with a many distance and squint. Perhaps I can script that for the bliss and feel the temperament. Chili and frozen in the grocery and mid girls and serve delicious for the poetry of the fun of the tiger wine for the hills so I can find what is important for those of you. Remind me of some for the remnants, for the dimensions of the poles of the garments, and you can find what's fulfilled inside that hill for the brain. You'll find that complicated. Never so like the evil I was the part of me for the face, and you can find many distances in the background. You can find erasing the night what you leave for the plate yourself for the dream is arising easily and looking off from the blast off and simply implement underneath the speed your might be fast but spit shine for the some fix. You can find a love that is big enough for the stuff that meant to be trouble for the depression of the game and inspiring enough for the requirement is iron. Underneath what's the iron and for the dream is high still. Lighter still. You don't even want to be lighter still. High. It could be lighter still. For the who's it down upon. Looking down upon for the who's it down upon for the who's it down upon me for the life of the rules and people know what gets by for the habit to walk the path along for the mountain to me. That's it. Looking down upon for the who's it down. Looking down upon for the who's it down upon me for the life of the rules and people know what gets by for the habit to walk the path along for the mountain to me. That's it. One finds that serenity in form. Descriptions, I guess, outfit such as though before for the scorns and the thorns and the bishop be scorched from his perspective. That ain't that really useful. That vision for the home, for although before the eyes unfamiliar, as it would be to grief the yonder, in the sky for the thunder, within that for the side note, for that one for the depth of the fin, finite for the thing, for the beats such as night. Side shows for the abstract, for the timeless of the trees. You inclined to meet the righteousness in my home. It's time to keep your bee on your wings. Behind forever for the spirit rich in heaven. That life is the wait for the my arrival. Sufficient with the seven kinds and I make. Your essence in the wave is horrifying. You could be. It's such for this for the verse of Nushi. The music and the grace from the mistake from the embrace. New America. I sense. I can find an embracement for what you can find for the confirmation, the bias enough the sacrifice before I made for decisions should this be restored for the consider for this being the pawn of an blissful. Intermissions for what you can find for divine the confirmation for the wealth you can consider for the dispute trouble for the rubies and the code for the heart for the still at home. I ain't really chilling for the feelings of the continent. Yo, indignation for the plus and breathless and threats of the confirmation that what you can find a reason for what you can check next step for the singly. For the beginning for the cause of the night and the second best. Not even for the bracket for the night of mystery for the who has had the grief for the womb to find the witchery for the end of the sense of proving wrong. Confirmation bias silly for the truth disposed. Innovative for my stand-ups and shape which have been okay I usually. Danger, cause I've been falsely accused for the been clipped into the others for the solve for the act. Not for the news exposed for the world looking different with the development for the needed cautiousness. Your world too good with it. You all abrupt. You're minded for the business if you want. You be mauled to dust. Some back in but always trigger me because of what you not. Stalking crush for the fall for so much in pain in life. But like a bomb for the putting in the poems, so the sergeant didn't calm me down. So it don't hurt that much for the guessing implication for the trumpet for the remaining for the others who do not be darker for the harder for the present day. Hardest to know for the death for the such and inflicted for the try to wedge. Ways of the life for the sound and beckons when you can rhyme in personal way in a certain new words. Taken from dictionaries and certain souls. Claim for the people from the phrases you'll bother with that. Not for the only reason for the framing for the sequel for the common fact that I had known this before for the craft and the old. That noble stuff for coming back with such a position for the you could be accomplished with that converted to provoking and provoking spoken clear for the menace of the sense that focus here. For some reason I can't be attended for the evil will be evil enough for the wicked and I can't let it. Legitimately find it either for the legit. It will be paused in the background for the understanding of your confirmation whether it depends on the tires cut. I woke up from that nightmare for the back foot against the floor for the head spinning like a metaphor for the crime for the floor for the all clothing up and up against him. You could be the distance belt for the gut ties for the blood through the feel for gave my life for the fire for the shadows for the others will look it down upon. One finds that serenity in One finds that serenity in form. One finds that serenity in form. Descriptions, I guess I'll fit such as though before of the scorns of the thorns and the disability scorchings perspectives. That ain't that. One finds that serenity in form. Descriptions, I guess I'll fit such as though before of the scorns of the thorns and the disability scorchings perspectives. That ain't that really useful. That vision for the home, for although before the eyes are unfamiliar, as it would be to grief yonder. In the sky for the thunder, within that for the side note, for that wonder for the depth of the fin. Finite for the thing, for the deeds of such as not. Side shows for the abstract, for the timeless of trees. Dim inclined to meet the righteousness in my home. It's time to keep your bee on your rings. Behind forever for the spirit rich in heaven. That live is the way for my arrival. Fishing with the seven kinds and I make your essence in the wave is horrifying. You could be such for this for the verse of new sheet. The music and the grace from the mistake from the embrace. New America. I sense. I can find an embracement for whether you can find for the new confirmation, the bias enough for sacrifice before I made for decisions and this will be restored for the consider for the being upon that is blissful. Intermissions for what you can find for the divine confirmation for the wealth you can consider for the dispute trouble for the rubies and the code for the heart that's still at home. I ain't really chilling for the feelings of the continent. Yo, indignation for the plus and breathless and threats of the confirmation that what you can find a reason for what you can check next step for the singly. For the beginning for the cause of the night and the second best. Not even for the bracket for the night of mystery for the who has had the grief for the womb to find the witchery for the end of the sense of proving wrong. Confirmation bias silly for the truth disposed. Innovative for my stand-ups and shape which have been okay I use it. Danger, cause I've been falsely accused for the back being flipped into the others for the solve for the act. Not for the news exposed for the world looking different with the development for the needed cautiousness. Your world too good with it. You all abrupt. You're minded for the business if you want. You'll be mauled to dust. Some back in but always trigger me for because of what you not. Stalking crush for the fall for there's so much in pain in life. But like a bomb for the putting in the poem, so the sergeant didn't calm me down. So it don't hurt that much for the guessing implication for the trumpet for the remaining for the others who do not be darker for the harder for the present day. Hardest to know for the death for the such and inflicted for the try to wedge. Ways of life for the sound and beckons, and you can rhyme in personal way in certain new words, taking it from dictionaries and certain souls. Claim for the people from the phrases, you'll bother with that. Not for the only reason, for the framing, for the sequel, for the common fact that I had known this before, for the craft and the old. That no more stuff for coming back with such a position, for the you could be accomplished with that converted to provoking and provoking, spoken clear for the menace and the sense that focus here. For some reason I can't be attended, for the evil will be evil enough for the wicked, and I can't let you legitimately find it either for the legit. It would be pours in the background for the understanding of your confirmation, whether it depends when the tie is cut. I woke up from that nightmare for the back, for the against the floor, for the head spinning like a metaphor for the crime, for the floor, for the all clothing up and up against him. Wet dream, you could be the distance bell for the gut ties, for the blood to the feel free. Gave my life for the fine, for the shadows, for the others, for the look down upon.
Smoking reef.
One finds that serenity in form. One finds that serenity in form. One finds that serenity in form. Descriptions, I guess outfits such as those before of the scorns of the thorns of the disability scorchings, perspectives. That ain't that really useful. That vision for the home, although before the eyes unfamiliar, as it would be to grief yonder. One finds that serenity. One finds that serenity in form. Descriptions, I guess outfits such as those before of the scorns of the thorns of the disability scorchings, perspectives. That ain't that really useful. That vision for the home, although before the eyes unfamiliar, as it would be to grief yonder. In the sky for the thunder, within that for the side note, for that one for the depth is fin. Finite for the thing, for the beat is such as not. Side shows for the abstract, for the timeless of the trees. You incline to meet the righteousness in my home. It's time to keep your bee on your wings. Behind fabric for the spirit rich in heaven. That live with the wait for the my arrival. Sufficient with the sudden kinds and I make. Your essence in the wave is horrifying, you could be. Such for this for the verse of new sheep. Your music and integrates for the mistake for the embrace. Your mirth. Sense. I can find an embracement for what you can find for the confirmation, the bias, enough to sacrifice before I made the decision should this be restored for the consider for this being upon when it was blissful. Intermissions for what you can find for the find the confirmation for the wealth you can consider for the dispute trouble for the rubies in the code for the heart but still at home. I ain't really chilling for the feelings of the continent. Yo, indignation for the plus and breathless and threats of the confirmation that what you can find a reason for what you can check next step for the singly. For the beginning for the cause of the night and second best. Not even for the bracket for the night of history for the who has had the grief for the wound to find the witchery for the end of the sense of prove them wrong. Confirmation bias, silly for the truth disposed. Innovative from my stand-ups and shaping, which have been okay, I usually. Danger, because I've been falsely accused for the back, being clipped into the others for the solve for the act. Not for the news exposed, for the world looking different, with the development for the needed cautiousness. Your world too good with it. You, Paul, abrupt. You're minded for the business if you want. You, come on to dust. Some back about always tricking you because of what you not. Stalking crush for the fall for the so much in pain in life. But like a bomb for the pudding in the poems, so the sergeant didn't calm me down. So it don't hurt that much for the guests, the implication for the trumpet, for the remaining, for the others, for the not, darker, for the harder, for the present day. Hardest to know for the deaf, for the such and inflicted, for the try to wedge. Ways of the life for the sound and beckons, and you can rhyme in personal, but even in certain new words, taken from dictionaries and certain souls. Claim for the people from the phrases, you'll bother with that. Not for the only reason, for the framing, for the sequel, for the common fact, for the I had known this before, for the craft and the old. That noble stuff for coming back with such a position for the you can be accomplished with that converted to poker voguing and provoking spoken clear for the minutes of the sense that focus here. For some reason I can't be attended for the even will be evil enough for the wicked and I can't legend. Legitimately find it either for the legit. It'll be pours in the background for the understanding of your confirmation whether it depends on the tie is cut. I woke up from that nightmare for the back, for the against the floor, for the head spinning like a metaphor for the crime, the floor for the all thing clothed and up against him. But drink, you can be the distance bell for the gut ties, for the blood to the feel free. Get my life for the fine, for the shadows, for the others who look down upon.